I want to bring up really quick with the villain. I love it when the third time, like he jumps on the golden hand thing, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill your boy," and then Aladdin's like, "Don't worry, Dad, I got this." I was like, "Yeah, you've already beat this guy like
Oh yeah.
twice. You beat him up the first time when you had the challenge. You beat him up the second time, and then the third time you just kick his ass again. Like
that goes entirely back to my like. There's no stakes.
And we are here again, and we are back again on the Sequel Podcast. As always, I'm Matt.
I'm Drew.
All right. And if you don't know what this is your first time tuning in, this is the Back Again Podcast. This is where we look at sequels from the past. And one of the more interesting things about this kind of sequel world, the sequel verse, as we'll get into, is that there's a lot of Disney animated sequels. So movies that you grew up loving, like, Aladdin, Lion King, Bambi, Snow White.
The hits.
They made a lot of sequels after the fact. So this is where we kind of pick one of those sequels. We dive into it. We see if it needed to exist, if it was just trying to grab money, and if they actually brought anything new to the franchise. So the first episode we did is Aladdin franchise. We did the third one in that franchise, which is Aladdin, King of Thieves. This is a pre-recorded intro to the review. The review is going to be playing just very shortly after this. It's a little sloppy. It was our first time doing it, so we're kind of doing a new intro for it. We'll kind of catch back up at the end, but let's start that first episode of Aladdin, King of Thieves. So it's the third movie. You got Aladdin. He's finally marrying Jasmine after 85 episodes in a second movie.
That's 85.
After a four season of when do you want to do it, even though they already own all the land and they can do it whenever. They finally decide to do it, and on that day, they get invaded by King of Thieves and his crew, and they're at the 40 Thieves, and they're at the wedding because they got to get a device.
What was that thing?
It's just
was
like
a scepter.
It's just like a scepter.
Yeah.
That we find out later there's a spirit coming out of.
And an oracle.
Now, yeah, an oracle. So the King of Thieves comes. He tries to get the stuff. They infiltrate the wedding. The genie does a horrible job protecting anyone until after the fact, after all the damage is done. Like, yeah, he holds up the roof for a little bit. So they're there to get the thing. Aladdin runs away because he's like, it's the 40 Thieves, which means the king must be here. And they fight a little bit. And then after the fact, they get the talisman, they get the spirit, finds out that the fucking king was his dad, the King of Thieves.
So there is, just to clarify, there is a den of thieves in this movie.
Well, yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily completely wrong.
Listen, I'm totally fine with bringing up Den of Thieves as much as possible. I think it's a great movie.
I actually regret saying
I think
that.
It's a fantastic
let's go back to your
movie.
plot synopsis.
All right, you should watch Den of Thieves. But so there's a conversation that Jasmine and Aladdin have on a balcony, and he's like,
"I'm really have all their good conversations."
Yeah, and he's like, "I'm not gonna go out there," and she's like, "No, you gotta." It's like he's like, "You don't understand." He's like, "My mom's dead." I thought he was just like. But Jasmine's mom is dead also. She could absolutely understand where he's coming from.
I don't want to defend this movie, but I will play devil's advocate. I don't think the argument was ever that like, oh, it was never brought to Jasmine like, oh, I don't know who my parents were. It was always, she was always, because I remember she was always being annoyingly supportive in a way where you couldn't even like turn it back on her.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. He was being like very blind to the fact that, because I think it's very obvious that she does not have like a princess mom, because like we see her dad's very active in her life because she has a very prominent home life.
I'm pretty sure her mom is dead. Like I'm pretty sure they squashed that in the first one.
The mom is a very like noticeable absence. And
that's what I'm saying.
Aladdin is just going on about his dad. Who cares about his dad? His dad is dead, as far as he knew.
So we're at that point before he's going to meet his dad, and I'll continue it. But a lot of these songs, Jasmine's like, "You used to show me a world," and like she's like telling him. There's a lot of songs that are referencing the other songs, kind of.
How many of them do you think reference Jafar that we completely missed?
I think they skipped Jafar. Like that's the thing that's interesting about this movie is, he's getting married now, and it's like, what's the second one about? The second one's just about the bad guy returning.
Well, you read a synopsis for the second one.
Yeah, but the bad guy gets defeated at the end of the first one. So this feels kind of like a true sequel with all the references that they're doing. Like the first song sounds very similar to Prince Ali. There's another song we'll get into later, which is the villain song that sounds like Prince Ali. This one is basically a whole new world with some different chords, but she even says like, "You showed me a world," and then like then they're singing over each other,
which
the
is
bridge.
almost like a direct reference to what is the original lyric from the first movie?
I can show you the world.
There you go.
I know. Yeah, I
The
get
point
it.
doesn't need to be argued any
I
further.
know. It's just like we're just kind of doing the hits with this one. So anyway, Aladdin goes to see his dad. He goes to the thieves. He follows them to like the river, the ocean thing, right? And that's where he says, "Open sesame."
Open Sesame. We had a whole conversation. I think that was
Yeah.
the first full conversation we had about the movie.
Where I said, "Is this? Did they do this? Is this from the thing? Is this?
Yeah.
Did they invent this?
Did
Aladdin invent Open Sesame?
Was Open Sesame a phrase before Aladdin 3, King of Thieves, released in 1995?
Yeah.
And I told you I was pretty sure that it was. And so I looked it up. It is actually a phrase from the work Alibaba and the 40 Thieves,
Yeah.
which is actually
that's what they're doing.
This is what the movie is adapted from.
Yeah.
So in a sense, this the phrase is actually taken from not necessarily Aladdin, but from the source material.
He's technically Alibaba, if you think about it.
I believe so.
Yeah, they call him something else. I don't know. I want to say Dennis, but I know that's not his name.
Who?
The dad.
The dad? No, it's Callus.
Oh, it's Kasim.
Kasim, yeah. No, I don't know if he's Alibaba or if Kasim is actually a character from.
Well, Kasim is played by
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, which is Gimli. Just Gimli.
He's most famously known for Gimli from Lord of the Rings, and also the voice of Treebeard.
And I'm pretty sure he only sings like 2 lines in the whole movie because
he doesn't really sing.
He just kind of says them in a like a faster way.
Yeah.
Under while some music's playing under it.
With some haste and some music under it, yes.
So Aladdin goes to the things. He just walks in. He's like, "I'm here. I'm your son." And they're all like, "We're gonna kill your son." And then he draws at the Gimli draws out the fact that he's like, "What are we gonna do with this guy? Let's kill him." And then he's like, "Wait a second, hold it." He's like, "Well, we're gonna do a Black Panther challenge, basically, where we're gonna get in a circle and you can fight." And then they pick Sakul. Well, Sakul volunteers to fight Aladdin, and then they have a fight. And yeah, so like Aladdin just like beats him like really easily, kinda. And then he's just like in the King of Thieves, like he's in the 40 Thieves group. He's the new 39. So we get into our kind of our fourth big musical number, 40 Thieves. It's a catchy song. Like I saw you nodding your foot a couple times throughout the movie, tapping your foot. But just to kind of finish the plot, so we can actually just talk about it without worrying about it. When you get to the 40 Thieves song, after that, basically you just got a lot of Act 2 shit that's not really exciting. He's got to.
Act 2 is where you have the whole thing with Jasmine, which was the most interesting point for me.
What, the genie's trying to cheer her up?
Yeah, if they find a genie entertaining, that whole fourth wall shattering. So
genie's trying to cheer her up. Aladdin's talking to the dad. They're gonna go like steal something or whatever, but he can't like go through with it. So he's like, I may be your son, but I'm also like, I'm not gonna live your life. So he goes back to Jasmine. They part ways. He gives him like the parrot, and he's like, because they find out where the treasure is, right? So with his dad, they're gonna go get the treasure, but he's like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not a thief. Goes home. They separate. He's back. He's gonna do the wedding, but then we find out that the bad guy, Sakul, played by
Jay Orbach.
Yeah, what he's been doing behind the scenes which is what I liked about the movie, which was he went to the guards of the main king, and he told
the Sultan,
and he said, "I'll give you all the thieves," because he lost the fight against Aladdin. He's really pissed. So they're collecting all the thieves, but it gets to a point where he eventually, through a song called "Are You In or Are You Out," he convinces the crew that it wasn't him that turned him into the king's policeman. It was Kasim. So then he sings the song "Are You In or Are You Out," with it, which is also just the song that he sings, even though I thought it was catchy. So he gets them all on their team, and then when Kasim comes back, they do the old,
the old switcheroo.
Yeah, the mutiny, as you would say. And then they head out. Aladdin has to make a decision to go save him. He's like, I don't want to, fuck that guy. And I agree with Aladdin at that point. Like, fuck this guy. Why are we going after? He wasn't there for us. They all convince him. He goes, he saves them. They defeat the bad guy. And, they save the day. They fly away. The city's sinking. Happy. And then, of course, you have the line of, is this the greatest treasure? And he's like, I don't care about Gimli. He's like, I don't care about this treasure. You were my greatest treasure. Happily ever after, we get married. End of movie. Fantastic. So here's what I want to get to is what it does right for me. Okay, and what I think it does right, it's got a good villain. It does that whole, even though I don't like wedding movies or episodes of show except for Buffy usually. Um, it's got the wedding plot, so we got some going forward. Yes, we have the Disney Pixar father issues that we always have with these fucking, or the Marvel, I guess, has more of the daddy issues, but the daddy issue storyline. So it's got a lot of stuff going on, which I think it's got going for it. It's got an okay plot. It has the conversations it needs to have. But my main issue with it though is that it just feels like they got Robin Williams to show up for a day and just knock all that out, and that every song is just a ripoff of the first one, even to the end where they just play Arabian Nights. So it's fascinating because it feels like they really, with this third one, they really wanted to like go bang for their buck. I think the animation is a lot better than the second one from what I saw. So it feels like they put a lot more effort into this one. Just with like, they were like, we got Robin Williams back, so we got to make the plot good. We got to make the music like the first one. We just did that second one, and then we did those 85 episodes.
85.
We did those 4 seasons. Like, we finally got Robin Williams back. We got to make a good one. And I think that they did a good job ending it, and it's done after this. They don't touch it anymore until
this is the end of the Aladdin canon until since the remake, right?
I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, I mean, I'm sure someone will like say something about it.
Can we get go ahead and comment below if you know anything about any additional Aladdin canon?
Yeah, or just like leave it to yourself.
Only official, please.
Yeah, or just like don't, and like I'll figure out someday, and then I'll just be like, hey,
Drew. No, leave comments, please. It helps boost boost viewership.
So here's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you basically 2 questions. For you, does it work as a sequel?
I'll tell you what. If I'm watching this as a sequel, and you want me to actually get into a little bit of my sequel rhetoric, the phrase that comes to mind for me is the stakes have never been lower. I mean, it's not the worst script they could have turned in, but it's void of stakes, where the whole, it seems, gambit is we need to be back in time for our wedding because it's been delayed too long.
I would say even more
and
than that.
This really seems like a side quest.
I would say even more than that. They force in the father. Like, I constantly have to like rescue my father. It's like, go get married, dude.
We were talking about
it's
that.
Like, why are you waiting?
I actually want to jump to that because I wanted to talk about that when you first touched on it. But going to the point of, I mean, like I'll just say it. Aladdin really shouldn't have gone to save his father at the end there. That really went against any kind of like sound logic or kind of build up that the plot was going towards.
I want to keep talking about his father as well. And, he says to him, I had to leave your mother. I had no choice. It's like, what are you talking about? So you come to this town, you have sex with this woman, you give her a dagger to give to if she ever has a firstborn. So you're like, hey, if I got you knocked up, here's a knife. And then he leaves, and
it's not even like practical. It's like a ceremonial.
Yeah, and then it's like 25 or 22 years later when this kid like sees him, he's like, how was I supposed to know she had a kid? It's like, well, you banged her, you left her a knife in case she had a firstborn. Like, how many times have you done this? How many Aladdins are there? And it just felt like,
and what really, I don't know if he actually even says it, but like, that his argument is like, it's too dangerous for her, for a woman and a child to be here in this den of thieves that I'm king over. But he reforms them. It's like he made them like softies. Like, it's totally safe.
I basically think this movie is too father forgiving. And
it is for sure.
And I'm all for father forgiving in a movie, but like, this guy,
Aladdin goes out of his way to forgive his father.
Yeah, and it's not like his father's a stand-up guy. It's not like he learned. If anything, it's the worst qualities of Aladdin that he's trying to escape. And he actually has an arc in that because he goes back. We get the nice little lesson for the children, which is, if you
I already forgot what it was.
It's if you do something bad, you come back and you fess up to it, and everything will be okay.
Exactly.
Which was not my experience growing up. My experience was, I can't admit this. But so the father, I don't think he needs to be saved, but then he ends up obviously like they're trying to redeem him at the end, but he still runs away into the night like as a thief. So it's not like we're redeeming behavior here.
But it's like, doesn't Aladdin give him like a knowing smile or something?
Well, no, because he helps him get the hand. He helps him find the treasure. So he's essentially like a billionaire now, just running off.
But he threw it.
Oh, that's right. He did throw it off.
You even paying attention?
Well, then he's still going off to steal something else. It's like he
Well,
doesn't.
That's the thing. You can't change men.
He didn't give him a
That's
job.
the theme of this movie. You can't change men.
So I think this movie works as a sequel, and I think if you just had the first one and then this one, and this was straight to video, but it still had Robin Williams and not an 85 run in between.
So you really just think that all an Aladdin movie needs to be a good sequel is Robin Williams?
Well, first of all, I guess this is the main argument, and this is, I understand this is overdone and this is cliched and everybody's said it and whatever. So, I'm just going to say it again. Yeah, that's his role. Like, there is no Aladdin without Robin Williams, and Will Smith brought his version to it, and that's great. But that's a live action version, so new rules. Here, that's his role. So I don't think you need to see Return of Jafar, and I don't think you need to watch.
Well, of course you would think that because you've never seen it. You would have to have seen it, and then you would be able to make that
This
judgment.
This is how I'm wrapping up episodes. I'm going to say, how does it work as a sequel for you? And like, you gave your answer. For me, I think it works as a sequel.
Did I give my answer clearly enough?
You gave it in the sense of and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you basically said that.
No, just ask me again, so it's clear.
Does it work as a sequel for you?
I don't think it works as a sequel.
Well, I think it does. So we both said yes and no. The second one is entertaining. Even if the plot is lazy as a writer, I'll still say, yeah, it's entertaining. The musical numbers are good.
It was entertaining enough.
So yeah, and that was kind of our take on Aladdin, King of Thieves. I think overall, I thought it's kind of worth going back again. You not so much. So that's going to be our episode on Aladdin, King of Thieves. As always, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Comment below if we missed anything, if there's anything that you want to bring to the table with it. And just make sure you tune in next time to see the next sequel that we do. And hopefully it won't be too horrible. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, that's the episode. I'll see you next time.
Bye.